But what's great about your writing is you don't just, include the stealth suit and leave it at that. You explain exactly how that has the potential to
Works.
work. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, and whether or not it is, it doesn't matter because you've created that in reality for the reader in their imagination, and that's
absolutely.
fantastic. Yeah.
Absolutely. And of course, another thing, when I was talking about the quantum computer that is back at the, I think it's actually back at some CIA base or something, in the book, okay, in the book, guys, is enabling the stripping of a particular code so that they can actually, the agents in the book can actually see things that they wouldn't be able to see because of the various cloaking devices that Salim Al-Duri has, but they can get in because they use quantum entanglement. Well, the kind of science that I use is actually now being used by Honeywell to produce the very first quantum computer. Now, I'm not saying that I created the science, but it's just how the application of it has actually been done in my book is exactly what Honeywell have actually done. So one of my friends who's actually a vice president in a tech company, he said, that could be the next H.G. Wells. Well, here's hoping, darling, here's hoping.
How cool, how exciting. Wow. Yeah, so ideas maybe not too far from reality. Brilliant.
Maybe not. As I say, I take the technology, I take the science, and I extrapolate it to the art of the possible. Yeah. I talk about exploding the envelope in my innovation world, do exactly the same in my writing world.
Brilliant. So yeah, you're a self-publishing author, an indie author.
Yes.
What do you enjoy most about being an indie author?
Control.
Control.
Control. Control. I can decide when I push a book out. I think one of the key things about being an indie author is that I can also decide when I want to promote, if I want to raise the price. Everything is manageable through my hands rather than going through a publisher or an agent and a publisher. It then starts to get very, very complex, and you get caught up in, politics with a small p. It just gives you more control, basically. That's essentially why I do it.
Brilliant. On the other side of that, what would you say the biggest challenges of being an indie author?
I think the biggest challenge in being an indie author is really the marketing. It is the marketing. Although, having said that, I know a lot of trad publishers. I know a lot of people who have gone through their books have gone through trad publishing, and they are still having to promote like hell themselves. Okay, there is a certain degree that is done through the publishing houses, but unless you are at that very, very high level, the likes of the James Patterson and Michael Connolly's and people like that who've really, really made it in a big way, you're not going to get that kind of exposure. You're still going to have to do an awful lot of marketing, and you won't get so much of the return. You won't get so much of the cut, the commission, the royalty, basically. That is always going to be a problem, whether you trad or whether you self-publish. But it's just getting the right amount of, as I call it, marketing communications out there, and having a consistent kind of key message, having good taglines like 007 on Acid with Aliens, Bond meets the X-Files, Guilty Pleasure, Popping Candy for the Mind, all these kind of the best one I've got at the moment, which again, I can honestly say blew me away, is that The Refracted, this is book 4, is a banquet, or an engorged banquet, compared to Killing Eve, which seems like a packed lunch. Compared to Killing Eve, okay, Mine's the engorged banquets. Killing Eve is a packed lunch. Now that works in marketing. It can piss people off, excuse me. But at the same time, it gets people thinking, well, I mean, Killing Eve's a mad thing. I mean, totally mad. If this is being regarded as a packed lunch, and this woman called Michelle Medhat's Refracted is being regarded as an engorged banquet, I've got to read her.
Yeah.
She got in her book.
Yeah, very intriguing. Yeah, I think anyone that's seen Killing Eve, yeah.
So these kind of gold dust, gold nugget kind of things really, really work well, and I do work them. I do work them in the marketing, but also there's the whole keywords and the AMS stuff and all that kind of stuff. It becomes more kind of mechanical. It's a very mechanical thing, and I'm much more on the creative side. I like the marketing to be more on the creative side, but I realise that there is a large amount that needs to be done on the mechanics of marketing. So actually getting those kind of figures up and making sure that you actually hit those AMS keywords and, you know, getting the right kind of like test sets in Facebook and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I understand it. I have done marketing research and I've done the whole kind of statistical stuff when I was in university, and I've done it in a previous position when I was actually marketing director, but it's not my love. You know, some people love that kind of statistical stuff, but I'm always on the creative. Can't help it. That's me.
And you know,
makes me look like a
most writers are on the creative side as well. So I think that's a challenge for so many indie writers is to, and it's like you said, it's something you can't avoid. Even if you do go for, if you go for traditional publishing to avoid marketing, then clearly that's not going to happen. Yeah, you're always, as a writer, going to have to learn how to make it.
As I say, unless you happen to be the daughter of a top celebrity or, you know, a politician or whatever, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You're still going to have to put that 4 pence into the marketing, no matter how much you go through, no matter how much you go through trad. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, great advice. Thank you. Who is a favourite author of yours? Who would you say has really inspired your writing?
Wow, favourite author of mine. I mean, I did identify a few in the beginning. I think Ian Fleming. Unfortunately, all the films of James Bond, they're fantastic films. I love the Bond films, but you read the books and you really get into the mind of James Bond, and he is a killer, and he's a brutal individual, you know, and he treats women like, you know, that's it. I mean, there's none of this lovey-dovey romantic, hey, looking in the eyes kind of thing. It's really, you're mine tonight, bang, that's it. But why I'm saying that is because I loved his books. I loved his books, and they became a real strong element for me. Robert Ludlum, I love his books as well. Absolutely fabulous, fabulous books. I have to say the good old greats, the likes of Arthur Conan Doyle. Absolutely love Sherlock Holmes. And I had the omnibus, my parents got me the omnibus when I was 10. And I don't know where it's gone now because I've been moving so many times around the world, but I had it. It was about that thick. It was almost like my Bible. I loved it. And Agatha Christie. I know they're a bit cliched, you know. Arthur Conan Doyle and Agatha Christie, fine. I love them. I love them, and I still revert back to them when I want to just get a bit more grounded. Great on characterization. Fantastic on characterization. The other novelist that I love is Arthur C. Clarke. I love Arthur C. Clarke. I mean, 2001, that blew my mind away. And it did become quite a big inspiration for me, and how I took the series, how I took the Trusted series, and where I was going to take it to. 2001, wow, it is still my all-time favourite sci-fi book ever.
Oh, cool.
And then I think after that is iRobot, Asimov's iRobot.
Oh.
Those are my two. I'm putting my hands on.
Natural, it's
Those are
fine.
my two favourite sci-fi books. I love them so much. I love them so much. And then you've got slightly more recent stuff like Richard K. Morgan's Altered Carbon, which I read actually before the series came out on, I think it was on Netflix. And I loved that. It was just so broad, so mind expanding, this whole idea of this world in the future, and being able to, change sleeves, your skin. It's just it's just amazing, the whole stack idea and everything else. Wonderful, absolutely wonderful, absolutely wonderful. So those kinds of authors, the ones that really push the boundaries of their time, okay, and that's important. It's authors that push the boundaries. Those are the ones that I really wanted to, explore more and more. And as I say, I go back when I need a bit of grounding on characterization. It's fantastic.
Brilliant. Yeah, every example that you gave, I can kind of see how that's influenced your writing.
Yeah.
Interesting with like Agatha Christie and Sherlock Holmes books. Yeah, both you have very strong characterization, I'd say, and also you're not afraid of a twist and a mystery and a shocking turn, So I can definitely see that as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, they are real mysteries.
yeah, they are actually. They're like very big mysteries as well. And yeah, it's brilliant, cool.